Many small businesses and beginners have difficulty making sales. However, several techniques can help, one of which is persuasion. When used correctly and consistently, it becomes a potent tool. However, few professionals can work persuasion the right way. Persuasion is an action of convincing or persuading. It is making another person absorb what you are saying, accept it, and consider it. In other words, persuasion can make the listener change their opinion or make a more appropriate choice. In other words, it is getting someone to accept your argument. However, it is important to understand that persuasion is very different from manipulation. Some people get confused and think that persuading is something negative, like trying to deceive or force someone to do something. Persuasion is positive when done responsibly. It is based on facts and arguments, while manipulation uses false promises or forces the other person to act without having a choice. With persuasion, the final decision is still made by someone else or by the customers, unlike manipulation, which takes away this freedom of choice. Therefore, when used ethically and transparently, persuasion can greatly help your business, attracting and retaining customers. Always remember that persuasion is about truth and coherence. This is essential to win more customers and maintain good relationships in the long term. With that in mind, we will now show you 9 persuasion tips so that you and your company can work the right way and greatly increase your sales. So, let's go. 1. Do a self-analysis. First, start by looking at yourself and understanding who you are, your strengths and weaknesses, and understand which points need to be worked on so that you can achieve more things that help you reach your goals. So, be yourself. Don't try to appear to be someone else because that may sound fake to clients. Be natural. 2. Believe in your product service. For your persuasion to work well, your product or service must be really good, that it will truly solve your customers' problems or needs. Believe me, with a great product or service and at an appropriate price, your power of persuasion will be very strong and much easier to work. 3. Know your customers. Understanding your audience in depth will give you a very solid foundation to be able to create a relationship with your customers, mainly because you or your company will understand not only their pains or needs, but also their preferences, habits, and customs. In this way, you will be able to work on arguments that prove that your product service is really what will solve your customers' problems or needs. 4. Identify buying motivators. Understand why your customers need your product or service, and be consistent at this point to understand if what your company is offering is really valuable to them. And if it really is, identify the points that can be worked on to convince your customers that your product service really is the best purchase option for them. 5. Know how to listen. It is very important to listen to your customers. This way, you will be able to get to know each person well and understand what they really need, including finding out if there is any obstacle, doubt, or even rejection on their part that may be hindering the sale. In this way, practice active listening. In other words, be genuinely interested in what others are saying. Listen and pay close attention to what is being said. Don't filter only by what interests you. Avoid distractions. Ask questions when possible. In short, so assimilate as much information as possible. This will greatly increase trust between the interlocutors and the public. In addition, it reduces potential conflicts and improves interpersonal relationships. Also, don't be the owner of the truth. Knowing how to listen and understand other people's points of view is essential to being able to communicate well. Be open to questioning your certainties and thoughts. Eliminate any type of violent communication. Also consider all opinions and try to reach a consensus among everyone. If there are disagreements, which is quite common, seek a point of balance, with good ways of arguing, and above all, a lot of respect for everyone. 6. Have clear communication. Be clear at all times when talking to your customers, and be objective too. Using the same type of language as your customers and paying attention to signs that they understand what you mean is very important. And get straight to the point. Don't beat around the bush because your customers' time is precious and people may feel cheated if you talk too much. 7. Proximity and empathy. Empathy is something that will make a big difference. People often have different values and opinions than you, so put yourself in the shoes of the other people in the conversation or in the audience, and imagine how a certain piece of information would be viewed by them. Doing this will help you understand how your message will be absorbed. This way, you will understand whether or not what you want to communicate will work and create a connection between you and your audience. For example, addressing customers by name brings you closer to them, which indirectly makes them feel more comfortable. In addition, invite them to test your product services when possible to prove that what you're saying is true. In short, make customers realize and understand that you have already understood what they need and that what is being offered is truly relevant. 8. Flexibility and consistency. Always try to adapt to the context and to the customers as well. Be flexible to be able to convince customers, and always be consistent so that the negotiation makes sense for both sides. Understand whether what you are offering is consistent with what customers need, and of course, whether what the customer is proposing also makes sense for your business objectives. 9. Use mental triggers. Mental triggers are extremely important to work on your persuasion. Mental triggers are stimuli received by our brain that directly influence our decision-making. These are the decisions that we make without even realizing it. And there are several extremely powerful triggers that will certainly help your persuasion a lot. And with these tips we've shown you, you can be sure that you'll have a much more solid foundation to work on persuasion in your sales process. You can be sure that if you work on this topic well, the chances of connecting with your customers and increasing sales are really high. And just to recap what we've talked about here, do a self-analysis. Believe in your product service. Know your customers, identify buying motivators. Know how to listen, have clear communication, proximity and empathy, flexibility and consistency. Use mental triggers.
We hope you enjoyed it, and if you want to know more about how to set up and manage your own business, visit our YouTube channel where we have several videos about this subject, and if you liked it, share this video with your friends and family to help them too. Thanks and see you next time.